have four either.
No, it's not.
So Susan,
One of
number
this-
4.
Yes.
Question about number 4. It looks like it's just updating
And there is your
no
page.
more than 5 multifamily. Is that something we want to
Bunch
think
of
about?
visible suckers out there.
That's the definition, okay? Are you in favor of the adoption of Amendment 4 to amend a definition in Article 3 of the zoning ordinance? The proposal is to amend the definition of dwelling, multiple family, to read as follows. Definitions. Dwelling, comma, multifamily means a dwelling occupied by 3 families, but not more than 5. Now, is it a dwelling or is it a unit? Dwelling is the development. Unit is an individual. So in that dwelling, you have 3 families. This would expand it to 5 units.
It
That's
currently is
changed.
3 or more. Dwelling multiple families, it's now defined as occupied by 3 or more families. So there's no cap on it.
There's no upper limit. Is the current?
That's the current situation. So I'm thinking Amendment 4 is the only one I would possibly vote for.
I would agree with that.
Okay, there you go. Good question.
Words have meaning.
They sure do.
Language has meanings. The structure of sentences have meaning.
To change one
Diagram
map
sentences, pardon?
and then come up with completely different names for all the zones that don't, and they don't even tie into the
But
zoning
then, so you've
ordinances.
got village center. Well, what's the, what are we going to put in village center? What is that going to be used for? It's not in here.
Stays away.
I like the word conservation.
Just leave your map alone.
Leave your zones alone.
Yes.
Would it be appropriate, and if so, would it be a good idea to not help fund Lakes Region Planning?
Oh, I've been screaming that from the top of the hills to
All you can do is
defund
pull
them.
your dues.
Yeah,
Pull your dues.
a lot of communities have, you know. They don't like to talk about this, but they have lost a lot of
That's right.
money in the past few
That's
years
right.
with their membership.
But less than 14% on average of the gross revenue of any regional planning commission comes from dues.
Right.
Balance comes from
But
grants.
here was an
So
interesting.
where's your loyalty?
Grants. You mentioned something, Susan, when we were writing the legislation, because I wrote a bill to try to repeal all regional planning commissions this
They'll
year.
come back next year.
But we're gonna come back again. But it was interesting, because in one of those things, when we were reading the law, the vessel that empowers them says that they are there to service the RPC, the members of the RPCs, right? So my thought was, well, what would happen if we demembered the RPCs? Who are they going to serve? If the RPCs as a vessel have no members, they're gone.
No, they're not.
How can they function without the member when that's what enables them to work in the statute?
Because they're doing regional plans.
But if they have no towns?
Yeah, but it says in the RSA that that's the reason they're there, is to work with members.
The Office of Energy and Planning, years ago, passed legislation that delineated the regions, if you will. Okay. And there are towns within each region. Central New Hampshire, I think, has 31 towns within that,
Right.
within that region, not all are members. Okay. The dues, I think the most dues any town paid was Salem, and it was like $16,000. And they pulled out.
Yes. Hey, a lot of communities are pulling out, and I went to one of the meetings recently where they were talking about the long-term debt because they were having fiscal concerns in the budgets, which means that maybe the money from the feds is slowing down, or maybe, the pinching because state funds and memberships are dropping. But you know what? In essence, even though they're unaccountable, they still work for us. I mean, if they're getting paid by the feds, that's still our money. It doesn't fall off of trees. It's still our tax dollars. So I
We
still,
have no say.
yeah, I know.
on what they
Couldn't
do.
prove that.
The gentleman said, since when are you willing to give up your constitutional rights? Your New Hampshire constitutional rights?
We're not.
It's not like the US
Although the
It's actually
concern,
the Bill of Rights. The Constitution is the operating agreement,
Right.
The Bill of Rights are the drivers, okay? And that's what you want to look at, is what's in the Bill of Rights. Constitution just kind of makes it work, sir.
I just want clarifications on Jody's question. On the forest conservation that we have now, forest agriculture, whatever you want to call it,
Right
Which
now,
is-
as far as
which
conservation.
is 48%. That is very hard to build in. Is that supposed to be, when we talk to 50%, when we take 50% of the town, is that area supposed to be counted?
It's up to the town, right? Is it up to the town to decide? It's up to the town to decide, as long as it's a reasonable opportunity in your town. You don't have to take a specific portion and divvy.
No, but
No, that's not what he's saying. though.
No, I'm asking, do we have to count that as
Included.
included in the town land mass?
He's referencing 59 where they're talking about the majority of your
Yes, I understand.
areas zoned for residential.
I say that it's
You
what
can't build a house.
it's what the community
It says
decides.
in permitted areas.
And it isn't without special
That
exception
is
and everything else. So,
So it's not included, it's still permitted.
so
It's,
my,
can build in it. You can.
So it
In
does
6
say
acre
the law,
lots.
600-foot road frontage, there's no roads, so
Yeah.
it's difficult,
Yeah.
it's expensive.
Yes,
It's difficult and expensive, but you can build.
right.
But you can't.
well, why would they word it the way they, oh, because it's up to the towns whether they want to use it or not use it, is that what you're saying?
What is
That's why we word it loosely.
Decide what you want to do. You cannot decide.
They want it that way, right?
That is,
Yeah,
Because it's broad.
I have 400 acres.
You picked up on something very good.
But I mean,
We have been told in the whole presentation that we had to set aside 50% of our land for multi-family dwelling.
Then you tell the
That's
state
what
of New
we've been
Hampshire
told.
they need to pay for it.
Well, we've been told that by our planner in all these meetings. We've been, Bob Ward.
And where did he get that 50% from?
Well,
The law says you don't.
I tell you what, why
so
don't
what
I file a
I
right
did
to
a
know
right to
request on
know.
this?
I did a
Very
right to
good.
know to the Board of Selectmen and the Planning Board. And I asked, does in fact the town have to set aside 50% of its land for multi-unit dwellings for workforce housing? That was question one. I want this answered by tomorrow. I gave this to the town administrator. And Bob Ward will be back tomorrow. Did Bob Ward tell the planning board, along with Jerry Coogan, that 50% of the land area had to be set aside for multi-family dwellings for workforce housing? I believe they used scare tactics. I believe that's what happened. And I think, and I don't fault the planning board, believe me, I really don't. Because you listen to these, who are supposed to be these experts.
Right.
And it was Jerry Coogan from Lakes Region Planning and our planner, Bob Ward. Now, I had several private meetings with our planner ahead of this thing. And I asked him, I said, well, what happened was, I said, where is this multi-family housing going for workforce housing? He told me 2 areas. It's going in commercial area and general residential. So I didn't worry about it too much. I said, well, it's going in 2 zones, okay.
Who says
When-
it's going there though?
He told me
He said that was what was gonna go on the
He told
amendment.
me that's what was going on the amendments.
That's what they were
When-
gonna ask.
When the amendments, they have to come to the town clerk
Yeah.
before the public hearing.
Wow.
When they came to me and I read them, I was like, I went dashing in his office and I said, you told me. Because we hadn't heard any of this because we thought he was on the up and up and he was watching out for the town. When I went in there, I said, you opened this up to the whole town. He goes, well, we decided to make some changes.
We just.
That's when
Oh,
I
that's-
went ballistic, called my neighborhood, got everybody together and said, we gotta watch this. I don't like it. I don't like what's happening here. And this is what happened, and then in all these meetings, they've been telling us this 50% of the town's gonna be
Just saying
set
no,
aside for
it's
this.
not true.
So I said, then when I heard what Will had asked the planning board, and he had done his research.
That's a
and he
false
said,
claim,
"Hey,
Matt.
look,
They could-
this isn't right. This doesn't have to be like this.
No.
And then I understand that Evelyn asked Bob Ward, does 50% of the town have to be, and then he went, no.
Yeah.
But he's been telling us in these meetings,
Yeah.
these informational meetings, he's been telling the public. So, talk about lawsuits, they want lawsuits, we've been falsely told.
That's right, the
about
False Claims Act
This
will,
information is live.
I would suggest, and I'd be happy to write it for you, is one of the people here in Sanbornton, not me, because I'm just
You don't have.
cranky old lady.
You don't have a voice.
I don't have a voice, that's correct. But I will write your right to know request to get this information, and I'll send it to you as a document, and you can choose to, if somebody wants to say, I'm a citizen of this town, I have a right to know under RSA 91A, and you've got 5 days to tell me how you're gonna get this information.
That's what she's doing.
we vote Tuesday.
Yeah. We vote.
You know what? Then vote no.
Yeah, I would vote.
That's what
But you know what, you still,
I would vote no, because you don't have all the information.
We're working to the bottom of it in every one of these regional planning commissions.
Don't open a
You said
Pandora's
no.
box, vote no.
I'll draft it
You
tomorrow.
draft it, I'll sign it.
I'll send it to you tomorrow.
No problem.
And one way or the other, regardless of what happens at town meeting, you'll have a background and you'll know who's lying.
That's what I've been doing, I've been doing a lot of writing.
Because they'll have to
so I'll
fix
have
the
a background
documentation.
for an attorney if we need it.
That's why you have $60,000 in your legal budget. Yes, ma'am.
At the very least, there have been 3 articles in 3 papers from a member of the planning board saying that it is mandatory and that we are all under
Really? Is that in print?
extreme amount of misconceptions. 3 articles that I know of.
They
He's
certainly-
nuts.
Yes, he is. He's old and
But if they're in
nuts.
art,
Well, I'm old, but I'm just crazy.
I'm old too. I
Oh, I
like
bet I
being
might
old.
have it.
you guys were great, thank you very much, you were very patient today.
Crop TV.